So the real question is, how do you keep more of your hard-earned savings in your pocket? We at Alon Planning Partners have a solution. We created a tax calculator just for you. Go to exchangемytaxbill.com. Again, visit exchangemytaxbill.com, input some basic information, and you'll see your tax liability through retirement. We can help you craft a plan that will give you peace of mind to and through your retirement years.
So visit exchangemytaxbill.com to take the next step. Again, exchangemytaxbill.com will help you craft a tax plan to help bring clarity to your financial future.
Investment advisory services offered through Foundations Investment Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, it's me, your manhood. Remember when we used to crush workouts and still have energy left over? Ever since we turned 40, I've been feeling neglected. Testosterone levels just aren't what they used to be. What do you say you give me a boost with Nugenix Total T2?
America's most trusted testosterone boosting brand is back with even more man boosting power. Nugenix Total T2, crafted with a unique new formula that combines the ultimate free and total testosterone booster with a powerful nitric oxide booster that starts working in just 3 hours with continued benefits over time. Feel like a new man, leaner, stronger, with more energy and drive.
Oh yeah, we are so back!
Text STREAK to 215215 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2. We'll even throw in a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our most powerful fat incinerator ever. That's STREAK to 215215. STREAK to 215215.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. Product not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
DBAT Cleveland is the premier baseball and softball training facility in the area. 14 total climate-controlled cages, including hitting lanes, pitching lanes, and 4 machine cages that throw baseball, fast pitch, and slow pitch softball. DBATCleveland.com.
From the Kia of Cleveland Studios, this is ESPN Cleveland 1013, WCLE HD2 Cleveland, W267BI Cleveland, ESPN Cleveland 1013.
The top of the hour is presented by Best Buy Metals, making the top of your house the best it can be. Visit bestbuymetalroofing.com.
It's time for The Drive on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, presented by Hardees. We will bring you nonstop sports news from the national and local scene and everything in between. So buckle up and join in on the conversation. It's The Drive.
Don't take no style. Got a thirst for killing. Think your body. Woo!
Welcome back to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland. I am Andy Morris along with my good friend Jim Gum. Always excited to be here with you, Jim, talking all things sports. We are, and when I say we, ESPN Cleveland 101.3, we are the only and largest all-sports station in the greater Chattanooga area. That makes sense, doesn't it, Jim?
If you're the only, you're guaranteed to be the largest.
You're the largest, the smallest, whatever you want to call it, right?
All sports radios, all sports format here in the greater Chattanooga area, and we're happy to be able to originate right here in Cleveland, Tennessee. Maybe not the largest Cleveland, but I'm pretty confident when I say the best Cleveland in the United States of America. I'll put this Cleveland up against any other Cleveland. By the way, there's a load of Clevelands in the United States, but I'll put our Cleveland up against any other Cleveland.
You ever been to Cleveland, Texas? It's a real place.
No, I've been to Cleveland, Mississippi, and Cleveland, Ohio, but I've never been to. Those are the only other Clevelands. And Cleveland, Mississippi, literally, I just happened to drive through it. I don't think I even stopped. So, yeah, I've been to Cleveland, Ohio once, and that was probably in the mid '80s. So it's been a minute.
I got a lot of family. That's where my dad's originally from, the other Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
The big Cleveland up there in Ohio, and talking Major League Baseball. Wonder how the Tribe's going to be this year. I still call them the Tribe.
Right, the Guardians.
You don't like it? Get over it. I still call them the Tribe. That's what I grew up knowing them as.
You still call them the Skins?
No,
Washington?
No, I don't. But listen, I'm glad you brought this up. You had this conversation off air. And there's a lot of predictions with where the NFL draft is going to take some of our favorite college athletes. Me being the Notre Dame fan that I am, I love my guy Jeremiah Love. And there's been predictions of him going at number 4 to the Titans.
A lot of rumors to Washington, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's been some to Washington as well. And so some places are being thrown around. If the Titans take him at 4, I'll be ecstatic because I will become a partial Titans fan I'll just because of Jeremiah Love. But if he goes to the Commanders, and I told Jim this, wherever he goes, my daughters, Kimberly and Murphy, absolutely love Jeremiah Love. And I told my wife and I told Jim, I said, wherever he goes, I'm going to get jerseys for my daughters. I'm going to get Jeremiah Love NFL jerseys. They have they have the Notre Dame jerseys. But if he goes to the Commanders, I am not going to do that because I think, first of all, I think they're going to be changing stuff yet again.
They're unveiling new uniforms on April 15th, by the way.
And they need to look like the original
and
Redskins.
That's
because
the rumor.
They were those were beautiful. Like, if you don't bring the Redskin name back, okay, like, I get it. Like, some people, it hurts their feelings. That's fine. Like, I understand that. But it was not in any ill intent when they created the team and used that name. As a matter of fact, the logo on the helmet was to honor a chief within that. I forget the name of the tribe that was up there in that area, but it was an honorary thing for him, and the family was disappointed and upset when they went away from it.
The logo was designed after that chief of that tribe you're talking about, and you can do the Google and YouTube stuff, and you'll see him. It's a very, very good drawing of his
side
face.
profile. But the uniforms themselves were beautiful. Just the way that
the
gold stripe
with
the white stripe popped on those burgundy pants, and the helmet's the gold face mask. They went to like a misty kind of burgundy helmet, which was I didn't really care
like the
for.
Flat. I like the shiny helmets. I don't like the flat. I guess flat paint.
I think they call it like matte finish.
Matte finish or flat. Yeah, I
like it when they use the black ones like that because you can make that look pretty good with certain things. But when you start taking it changes your team color. But they did that, and I wasn't a big fan of it. It almost looked purple. It was weird, but. Anyway,
getting back to that,
if J Love goes to the Commanders, I'm not buying a Commanders jersey.
See, you're like a lot of people I know, and I don't know if it's your
stubborn
generation.
Stubborn as heck.
No, your generation is that you'll root for teams based on where they played college football. I'm one of these.
Just NFL, not Major League Baseball.
No, but like, see, I don't do that either. Like, I mean, Ohio State puts a ton of guys in the NFL. I don't root for Jackson Smith and Jigba. I root for the guys that wear the black and orange of the Cincinnati Bengals. Those are my favorite
because
players.
You're from Cincinnati.
Yeah. So I'm not one of those guys.
We don't have an NFL team here in Cleveland.
Well, I hope Eddie George does well because he's playing. No. When Eddie George was playing the Bengals, I hope he got 0 yards and fumbled every time. You know, I'm not one of those guys that follows my college guys. I'm rooting for those guys for 4 years, and when they're in Columbus, when they leave Columbus and they go elsewhere, they're the enemy unless they wear the black and orange.
And so the other side of that, I'm a much, much, much bigger college football fan, and it means so much more to me than anything NFL. And
it just means more?
It just means more even outside of the SEC. You're right, Jim. Way to throw that in there. But so for me, it's like there's several teams that have multiple Notre Dame players in the NFL. And I want those guys to do good. They represent the university. When Marcus Freeman is out recruiting, when Josh Heupel is out recruiting, he's like, hey, look what Juwan Jennings, that's a Tennessee guy. And you know what? That's good for recruiting. It's good for the university. So I always want our guys to have successful NFL careers. And I don't. Not being front like you're a Cincinnati guy.
Yeah, I was born in a professional city.
Lived there for several years, and probably for the longest time, you might have even been more of a pro guy. A lot of people,
I was.
A lot of people from metro areas tend to be more professional because the team's right there and represent their city.
I mean, I was employed by the Cincinnati Reds at one time.
Yeah, so
I actually worked for the organization.
So from your stance, I completely understand that. I don't care about the Tennessee Titans. I like the Atlanta Falcons. I became a de facto fan of the Atlanta Falcons because my team moved to Baltimore. I grew up a Browns fan, and I like the Browns a lot more in the first stint than I do now. I follow them, but it's like it is what it is. So I like to see my college players do good in the NFL, and I like to continue to follow them. I think it's a good for your school.
And historically, Notre Dame guys have done well in the NFL. There's a lot of NFL Hall of Famers that are alumni of the University of Notre Dame.
Recently, quarterback position's kind of a struggle.
Well, Joe Montana, though,
he takes the cake.
He set the bar pretty darn high.
He does. But if you look recently, that's one thing that people think that C.J. Carr potentially could be the next big thing. Brady Quinn was a little bit of a bust. I loved Brady Quinn. Still love him to this day. Great TV personality for college football.
Yeah, he does a good job.
But he where did he go, Jim? He went to Cleveland, and he got ruined just like every other quarterback over the last 25 years.
They have had a knack of underachieving when they go to the Browns.
And so, for me, again, like I'm optimistic. And time out. As we're talking quarterbacks here, got to talk about what's going on up there in Knoxville here a little bit later.
Yeah.
Tennessee Volunteers, Coach Heupel, got the Volunteers in spring practice. They're about halfway through their spring, and a lot of optimism specifically on that defense. We know they've got Jim Knowles up there now, defensive coordinator, formerly at Penn State.
Ohio State, Penn State. Yep. He's been around. He's been around the block, but he's had a lot of success the last couple.
Got to hold this guy down because the word up there in Knoxville, the way they're playing, again, you're scrimmaging your team, your backup. Like, I get it. But the way they're pursuing the football right now, Josh Heupel's very excited about that. So we're going to talk about some Tennessee spring football for a little bit later on in the show. But a little bit of a quarterback competition going on up there as well. Everyone kind of presumed that McIntyre was just going to be the guy. Josh Heupel says, hold up. No, we've got a three-way quarterback competition. Of course, I believe they've the Staub kid they got from where did he come from?
He transferred in from
Colorado, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he came from Colorado.
I'd have to look that up.
I actually have it right here. So Staub came from.
Yeah, so Tennessee does have an open. Listen, that's what you want. You want an open competition when the guy that was starting last year, which was Aguilar. Obviously, he's no longer in the mix. He is no longer Tennessee Vol. So you have an open competition, and listen. Sometimes that's not decided in spring. Sometimes you got maybe there's two guys that are basically even in, and then you determine that in practicing the practices leading up to the regular season. So yeah, it could be a while before we know who the starter's going to be.
Yeah. So this is actually from Adam Sparks. He's the beat writer for Tennessee football for Knoxville News. And he said Heupel didn't tip his hand about early front runners in the three-man quarterback competition. He praised the redshirt freshman George McIntyre. We know he's a Nashville native, played at Brentwood Academy. Yep. And then five-star freshman Faison Brandon, as well as Colorado transfer Ryan Staub. So they've got some options at quarterback. I think, man, this is tough because Brandon is – he's got the legs. He just doesn't know the system.
But the dual threat
quarterback. Like he can run the ball.
McIntyre's more of your pro-style quarterback, but he can escape a little bit. But
and he's a quick release guy. I think he fits the offense well.
He's he's like 6'4", 6'5", something like that.
And he knows your
big
offense.
Arm.
So that's one thing that this article went on to say. Again, Adam Sparks of Knoxville News Sentinel said that really McIntyre is the most seasoned guy on the roster. He's returning, the only returning quarterback on that roster. But his knowledge from last season to this season of the offense, they said, has improved 100%. That it's phenomenal that he's came into this spring completely prepared to take the job. But you've got to battle two guys that are good quarterbacks as well.
You know, I love that we've transitioned into a little college football. I got an interesting email today from the NCAA.
Cease and desist?
No.
Okay.
No. No, they list the 10 winningest coaches at the FBS level as far as winning percentage.
Like active coaches?
Active coaches.
Okay.
The top. Ryan Day is number one.
Yeah, that's why you wanted to say it.
No, Kalen DeBoer is number two. Kirby Smart, number three. Your boy, Marcus Freeman, the fourth winningest coach as far as winning percentage in college football. He's just ahead of Dabo Swinney. Lincoln Riley is number 6. Josh Heupel is 7th. Lance Leapold, who's at Kansas. Lane Kiffin, LSU, and James Franklin, 10. Those are your 10 winningest coaches. Here, I'll show that. I'll let you look at that.
So
pretty interesting stuff. So I had to include that in our notes, if you will, today. I thought that was pretty interesting stuff.
So this justifies your stance with Lincoln Riley. By the way, he's at number 6 on that list with his win percentage. And you're high on him and USC.
I'm not
Trojans.
a hater I know a lot of people in Oklahoma that just can't stand the guy.
Yeah.
The guy's been a winner everywhere he's been, and he had the number 1 recruiting class this past year. He's had a heck of a big haul as far as the transfer portal.
And they're giving him time.
USC is going to be a dangerous team in 2026.
And you said this last year, Jim.
But they're even better this year, man. They got most of their guys coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where obviously my dislike for the Trojans.
Well, that's your biggest rival.
Is showing through. Right? Not anymore. We don't even play each other.
Yeah, I know they're not playing right
Thanks
now.
a lot, Lincoln Riley.
That's still Notre Dame's top rival.
But that does say a lot. He does have a lot of returning players on that roster for the Trojans, and he's a good coach. I'm not going to knock him to that point and say he's a terrible coach. But they're giving him time out there, and he's comfortable, and I think that can be a good thing. Sometimes these coaches feel the pressure, and they overcoach. They overdo things and try to do too much because they feel that pressure, and it forces them to failure a little bit. USC's happy with him, even though he hasn't quite been in the mix.
There's a little pressure on him, just like DeBoer. There's pressure on him. I don't think the seat is hot. I'd say it's just a little bit on the toasty warm side on a couple of those guys. But for the most part, that top 10, they're all pretty much, they got job security if they, assuming they don't have a disastrous season.
But how about our boy Josh Heupel right after Lincoln Riley there in the number 7 spot for the Volunteers with a win percentage of 723, which that's really pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And I know the SEC schedule's changing. They're going to that 9-game regular season in-conference schedule. But you got to enjoy as a Tennessee fan Josh Heupel ahead of Lane Kiffin on this list.
Yeah, it's a interesting list, but it just goes to show you, man, sometimes our expectations of some of these schools are unrealistic. And sometimes they've done it to us because they've won at such a high clip. You're winning 85% of your games or 80% of your games. That's winning 8 out of 10 games. That's hard to do, man.
Yes, it is.
And like I said, some of these guys are trying to replicate what they've done in years past. And I would say that Dabo Swinney is one of those guys. He had a lot of success 6, 7, 8 years ago. In the last 4 or 5 years, things have not been as successful there at Clemson as they have been, but his numbers are still impressive. That just goes to show you, man, sometimes, give these guys a little bit more time. I still believe in Dabo Swinney. A lot of people don't.
I do, too.
A lot of people don't believe in him anymore.
I think he needs to get with the times a little bit.
And I think I think now he is. He is willing to go after some transfers. Because, listen, Clemson's been the victim of guys transferring out of the program. Sometimes you got to just say, hey, if we're going to lose guys, we got to go get guys. And wherever our biggest needs, go out there and find the best guy that you can. And his thing has always been that the guys we got on our roster are better than any of these guys in the portal. I get that's what he's saying on the surface. Deep down inside, that's probably not accurate. There are probably some guys that are in the portal that are better than your guys currently on the roster. That's when you say, hey, we could use these guys. Anyway, we'll see if Dabo evolves.
Yeah, so we were talking about the Tennessee Volunteers spring football practice. We're going to transition back to baseball here for a second.
Opening day.
Former Tennessee Volunteer head baseball coach Tony Vitello did not get a very warm welcome to the major leagues. Got beat up on by the Yankees last night 7-0 in the first and very only opening day game last night. Yankees again out in San Francisco.
Did you watch that game, by the way?
So I came in late on it. But I watched pretty much the last 6 innings, and first of all, I thought it was hilarious that not Stanton, Judge.
The
Judge
0
went
for 4.
4 strikeouts, 0 for 4, but got booed by the San Francisco Giant fans. And listen,
he's from that area.
And that's some carryover from the World Baseball Classic. He didn't help that order out a whole lot, especially against Venezuela. No one, first of all, against Venezuela outside of our guy Bryce Harper did anything against Venezuela.
8th inning.
But even the semifinals, Judge has been cold, so it makes you wonder if maybe getting that high, getting that up for the World Baseball Classic kind of affects the way you reapproach coming back into the regular season.
Netflix has taken a lot of heat for their broadcast director. I don't know if you saw this.
Several people said they loved it, though.
The very first challenge in Major League Baseball history, they were doing a live interview with Vitello when this happened. They literally missed it.
But you can't time that.
I know, but
You
I'm
can't
just saying
time
that. But they were talking. People were talking about there were several times when the inning would come back from commercials, and they said that Netflix was doing nothing but promoting Netflix. Of course. What else you gonna do?
Yeah.
And like sometimes you'd miss a pitch, the first pitch of the inning, and stuff like that.
Well,
I mean, I didn't get to watch it, and some people were complaining about there was like fog or something. It was the smoke from the opening day ceremonies. Well, you can't control that.
What are you going to do about that?
We've seen that happen in football games where they have all these, explosions going, and then there's like a haze hovering over the field for the first quarter and a half.
There used to be a point in time, if you'd go down and play a football game at Brainerd or at Soddy Daisy, both of those stadiums, they got that grill going, and there's constant smoke in front of the press box, and it smells so good, and you're not even worried about calling a football game. You want to go get some barbecue. I believe at Brainerd it's fish that they do.
That's hilarious.
Oh, man. If you can't tell, I'm a little hungry. Shout out to our friends at Hardees. They sponsor the drive right here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. I wanted to talk about that just for a second before we go to our first break. Netflix is not a baseball company. They're not in the business of baseball.
They're going to do 3 games this year.
They're trying to, and this is more of a trial type period for them with Major League Baseball. A lot of people I heard complain about the commentary, how they were talking about other stuff other than the game.
That's what I didn't see it, but I heard that.
But when you have people like Barry Bonds is not a commentator. He came on for I believe an inning or so, and he told a really neat story, by the way, about George Steinbrenner.
Yeah, I have that on my notes. I want to talk about that.
So when we come back from this break, we're going to continue to talk about Major League Baseball's premiere on Netflix last night. Again, Yankees over the Giants 7-0. Tony Vitello 0-1 as a Major League manager. I hate that for him.
He's tied with Ted Turner all time, 0-1.
But he's got 161 more opportunities this year to get in the win column. So we're going to talk about all that when we come back right here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
This is your Hardees 2 for $5 breakfast mix and match alarm. We've got fluffy eggs and sausage on a made-from-scratch biscuit ready. Or perhaps biscuit and gravy. Ooh, maybe a sweet cinnamon roll. Wake up and smell that sweet deal. Mix and match any 2 for just $5 for a limited time. Only at Hardees. Don't snooze on the app. Snag juicy deals, order ahead, and get to work on time. Maybe. Exclusive app offers for registered My Rewards members only. Available for a limited time at participating restaurants.
Did you twist an ankle? Hurt your shoulder? Or maybe that weekend project left you with more than sore muscles? Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics is here to help. Our Urgent Ortho Walk-In Clinic in Cleveland is open Monday through Saturday, treating sprains, strains, fractures, and more. No appointment needed. There's no need to drive to Chattanooga for expert orthopedic care. Call, schedule online, or walk in today and get back to moving pain-free. Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. The Center for expert care right when you need it.
Cleveland, the all-new Select Flooring and Remodeling is now open at 5555 North Lee Highway. We carry the top flooring brands you know and trust: Mohawk, Shaw, Engineer Floors, and United Weavers. We also specialize in home remodeling and roofing, delivering quality you can count on. Take advantage of 24 months interest-free credit. Come see us Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and Saturday, 9 to 2. Call us today at 423-889-3007. That's Select Flooring and Remodeling, 5555 North Lee Highway, Cleveland. From the floors to the roof, we've got you covered.
Welcome to Mountain View Nissan Country, where automotive excellence is our top priority. At Mountain View Nissan, we take pride in offering you the finest selection of vehicles.
Not all composite decking is the same. Enjoy life's beautiful moments on an equally beautiful composite deck. Envision's products feature deep, non-repeating grains and distinct colors throughout each pour, offering a truly unique appearance unlike anything else on the market. Learn more and find inspiration for your project at Cleveland Plywood. Cleveland Plywood Company, 2700 20th Street Northeast in Cleveland.
No more varicose or spider veins. No more tired, achy, restless legs. No more restless nights. Start your journey to a better you with help from Milligan Vein. Their board-certified physicians have treated thousands of patients using the latest technologies to restore healthy, great-looking legs. There's little or no downtime, and your procedure is covered by most insurance. Milligan Vein, improving the quality of your life. Visit milliganvein.com or call Dr. John Milligan today at 423-961-5682.
When life gets busy, Little Caesars can be there to help with hot and ready pizzas and more from 4 to 8 p.m. You can't beat the taste of delicious pizza at a great price and hot and ready for dinner. 3 locations, Paul Huff, Key Street, and McGrady Drive, or order online.
Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
The Center for Sports Medicine, Orthopedics, Urgent, and Ortho in Cleveland is open Monday through Saturday for walk-in care. If you prefer to plan ahead, online scheduling is available at sportmed.com. And let's go ahead and give some finals from this afternoon in Major League Baseball. The Mets beat the Pirates 11-7. By the way, Paul Skeens 0-1 with a 67.5 ERA.
I was going to point out the ERA. Me and you are on the same page.
The Brewers all over the White Sox. Of course, the White Sox, man, just have been dismal for the last couple of years. 14-2, the Brewers all over Chicago there. And the north side of Chicago, they're not happy as well. The Nationals go to Chicago, and they beat the Cubs 10-4 at Wrigley Field. Some games in progress we've got thus far. Orioles leading 2-1, bottom of the 8th over the Twins. The Red Sox and the Reds are tied 0-0, bottom of the 5th. In the bottom of the 4th, it's the Astros and Angels, also scoreless. Top of the 5th, the Tigers are just crushing San Diego 8-2. Bottom of the 5th, the Phillies 2-zip over the Rangers. And top of the 5th, the Cardinals leading the Rays 1-zip. That is your update on the first true day of Major League Baseball. I know last night we did have the game between the Yankees and the Giants.
Well, it's not all the way true until the Braves play, which is tomorrow. Right. So you're not missing out on the Braves tonight. They are not playing tonight, getting started tomorrow against the Kansas City Royals.
But we want to get into this conversation that happened last night in the Giants game. Barry Bonds talking about how he refused to sign with the Yankees after a call with George Steinbrenner. And here's his quote. He goes, "I got to tell you a story because George isn't here anymore, so I can tell the truth. I would have been a Yankee, but Steinbrenner got on the phone and he called us and told me, Barry, we're going to give you the money, the highest paid player at that time, but you have to sign the contract by 2 o'clock this afternoon." And Barry Bonds said, "Excuse me?" And I just hung up the phone. So it had everything to do with the time, the clock. You had to sign by 2 o'clock, and he didn't like being pressured like that.
Told what to do, yeah.
Here's the thing. Barry Bonds has hit more home runs than any person in Major League history. I'm going to tell you right now, Andy, had he played all those years in Yankee Stadium, he might have 100 more home runs than he currently does. Because that ballpark in San Francisco, now he plays some at Candlestick too, but that ballpark.
The wind will come in on you. It's hard.
It's a hard place to hit home runs.
And not only that, but in New York, that short porch is designed for the Bronx Bombers.
They called it the house that Ruth built, the old Yankee Stadium, and that's where he would have played, was the old Yankee Stadium.
And this is where I think, kind of merging these two conversations between that and the Netflix broadcast, the commentators on there even accurately said you might have had 1,000 home runs. Barry Bonds, I believe, finished with like 780.
760 something.
Okay.
He didn't have a ton more than Hank Aaron, but he had about 10 or 12 more, something like that. I'd have to look that up.
Yeah, so that's one of those things. Honestly, if he were in a ballpark like that, or Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, where the ball carries there in the alleys.
And it's the alleys are the shortest. Like center field at Great American's 404. It's the power alleys are like 368, something like that. A lot of ballparks are in the 370,
and that's where Turner Field, back during that time period, the alleys there in Turner Field were like 390.
Yeah.
So it was more of a pitcher's ballpark.
And of course, Atlanta. Now, granted, a lot of people don't realize this, but Atlanta is the second highest elevation in Major League Baseball, only behind Denver. So that's why they called Atlanta Fulton County Stadium the launching pad. because of the elevation, the ball does travel better in Atlanta because of the elevation.
It was pretty neat that you brought that up because this was not scripted or discussed by Jim and I, but I actually watched a thing last night, and it's part of the Behind the Braves podcast, not to be confused with Behind the Braves, the coverage of spring training, those episodes they do on YouTube, which are great. Highly recommend for any Braves fan to get on YouTube, go to the Braves YouTube page, and watch those.
762 is how many home runs Barry Bonds.
762. You're pretty dang close.
So he only hit up 7 more than the hammer.
And if he were in another ballpark like that, like the launching pad, like Great American in Cincinnati or
Yankee Stadium,
Yankee Stadium
old
in New York,
Stadium,
yeah, he probably would have got at least 800.
Yeah,
at
sure.
least.
Yeah.
But that's one of those things too that to kind of go off of what you were saying, unscripted again, by the way. But I watched this thing on Behind the Braves, and it was talking about all of the Braves stadiums since they were in Boston. In the 1871 is when that park opened. That's
Braves Field.
And Boston University now uses it as their soccer and lacrosse field.
It's called Nickerson Field, yeah.
Yeah, which
but
is pretty neat.
It was called Braves Field back then.
Yep.
Then they moved to Milwaukee, played at County Stadium.
So there are actually 2 in Boston, and I didn't know this.
South Ends Park or something like that.
Yes, and one of them burnt. The first one burnt down.
Yep.
Then they had the Braves Stadium. Then they went to Milwaukee County.
Yeah, they went to Braves Field, then County Stadium in Milwaukee, Atlanta Fulton County, Turner Field, and of course now Truist.
So Turner Field was a pitcher's ballpark. It was like 3, even though with the elevation, like you said.
But the power alleys were so darn deep.
Yeah, prior to Colorado and Arizona, the power alleys there at Turner Field, which was the highest elevation up until those teams obviously came around, that's why they made the power alley so deep to be pitcher friendly to those guys like Maddox, Glavine, and
they
Smoltz.
loved it,
and they did. And guys like Chipper Jones, not so much. But whenever
you wonder, it hurt the Braves hitters.
It did. And whenever they built SunTrust Park, which is now Truist Park, or as I like to call it, the TP.
It's more of a home run haven there.
It is absolutely, and you can pitch to a pitcher's park to an extent there. But it was designed for, listen, if you're a left-handed hitter, that deck out there, I'm trying to remember what we call it, the top of the chop, that out there, man, it's so easy to get a ball caught up in that wind cycle up there and they fly out. So it's designed to be a home run park.
Yeah, there's
the right
definitely more home runs hit there than there was at Turner Field. But, listen, people like offense. And that's where, listen, I saw a thing one time. They took the average, I don't know, by square footage, I think it was square footage, of ballparks back in the 40s and 50s and compared them to the ballparks of 2020s. It's mind-blowing how much smaller the average square yardage or square footage, I should say.
We're promoting the long ball.
Because back then, even though some of the parks had small porches, their center fields, like Yankee Stadium, was 467 to dead center field.
Yeah, the Polo Grounds.
Yeah, the Polo Grounds were like over 500.
Yeah.
So they had deep center field. So you hit the ball into the gap or into dead center field, you weren't getting it out of the park most.
Yeah,
most
and
of the
originally, back then, even prior to the 30s and 20s, the home run ball was not very common.
The dead ball era.
Yes.
Yeah.
But down the lines, a lot of parks were like 2-something.
Oh yeah,
because
the
they
Polo Grounds was like a ridiculous,
because they were rectangled, multi-use type stadiums that they would play other sports and football, soccer, things like that. And you started seeing the dimensions of baseball fields change as you got into the 60s specifically. Those pop-up
then it became
stadiums.
symmetrical. Everything was symmetrical. The lines down left field, right field were the same.
So you mentioned
Power
Atlanta,
alleys were
Fulton
the same.
County.
The dead center was the same.
It was the same as Riverfront. It was the same.
Three Rivers, Bush Memorial.
All of them.
Yeah, they were all the same.
There were those very uniform pop-up.
Veteran Stadium in Philly.
Yeah, there were tons of them. And that's where, like, the very first Major League Park I ever went to was Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. So, like, that place is special to me, but it wasn't very unique. And it was the launching pad because the ball flew out of there. Especially, they said, with those circular stadiums, the way the wind came through them, it would carry them out.
The upper deck encircled the whole stadium, so it prevented winds from blowing into the face because the structure itself was stopping the wind.
Which that's why now you see a lot of these parks, and really Camden Yards is what brought it back to baseball-specific, unique stadiums. Whenever they built Camden Yards, I believe it opened in '94. Does that sound right?
Early '90s, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that place is still one of the most beautiful ballparks in all of Major League Baseball. But you started seeing places like Turner Field kind of replicate, obviously was built for the Olympics down there in Atlanta in '96, Turner Field was, but you started seeing all these other ballparks being built to kind of emulate what they did at Camden Yards, just because it's a beautiful park and the seating was meant for baseball. You would sit in some of those pop-up stadiums and you would have terrible angles to the ball field.
Yep. Everything was, there's you're playing a sport that is not a circular field in a circular stadium, so there's going to be some quirks as far as the seating goes. But by the way, speaking of Oriole Park at Camden Yards, did you see the scoreboard they just unveiled yesterday?
I did not.
It is massive. It is. I think they said it's the largest scoreboard.
Is it a jumbotron or a scoreboard?
Professional. It's a jumbotron.
Okay.
It's the biggest board, if you will, in professional sports.
I'm all for a big screen, man.
It's huge.
I like that.
Yeah, I saw that. They showed that last night. I'm like, holy Toledo.
Have you ever seen the little kids when they get to play like all-star games or championship games in like the big stadiums and like they're running the football and then they see themselves on the jumbotron and they slow down and they're like watching themselves run?
Mm-hmm.
That's
it happens a lot in football.
Yeah, very funny seeing the little kids do that stuff. But staying on track here with baseball, during the break, you guys would never guess what Jim did to me. He made me feel bad. You don't remember what you said to me?
I don't.
About my Braves.
What about your Braves?
We're already out of first place.
Oh yeah, you're a half game out of first place. Oh, it seems like all the
Jim looked at me.
All the
smirked
NL
and
East
laughed.
teams, all the NL East teams are winning.
Jim said, "By the way, Braves are already out of first place."
It's true. You know, you got the Mets. They won today. The Nationals won today, and the Phillies are leading right now. So yeah, you're already looking up at the. You're already in last place there.
You like that pause though, that quiet. I was waiting for you to say, "I dog cussed Andy during the commercial break." No, Jim doesn't do that. That's not a thing.
No. But you know what? One thing we didn't get to yesterday because we just ran out of time. That's what happens when you have an hour sports show. We just run out of time. Is you asked me yesterday, Jim, who are your favorite major leaguers at every position? And it took me maybe a minute and a half to write mine down. So let's go ahead and do that.
I asked him yesterday, and he didn't do it. So you heard him. He said today.
We were busy with our guests.
We had Will Campbell in the studio. That was a lot of fun.
And we had a phone guest as well.
You know, Will was back this morning for Mixed TV along with all the Walker Valley Mustangs.
I saw him.
I texted Coach Campbell, and I said, listen, you need to tell Heartline to put you on payroll as much time as you're spending here at the studio. But
yeah, they were all here early this morning. Yes, they were. It was crowded out here in the parking lot. That's for sure.
All right, so let's get into this. Our favorite MLB players by position. So let's start at catcher. Yeah, are you prepared to start at catcher?
Yes.
I already know who you're going to say.
It's Johnny Bench. He's my all-time favorite Major League Baseball player.
He's probably the greatest catcher of all time, too. And so that's easy for you. So the way I did this, I do have a few Braves that I put on my list, but I have a favorite Braves player for every single position.
Oh, of course.
Catcher, loved Javi Lopez, loved Brian McCann, but a guy outside of the organization that I really liked was Jason Varitek.
Oh, for the Red Sox.
Jason Varitek he's a Florida boy too. He's from Florida and kind of grew up friends with Chipper Jones, and would have been a pretty cool fit in Atlanta if it would have worked out at some point. But he was a Boston Red Sox most of his career, and the thing that really stole my love was Jason Varitek punching Alex Rodriguez in the face.
God.
That was awesome. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So back in the early 2000s,
the Yankees and Red Sox hate each other.
Those were such heated Yankee Red Sox rivalry games though back then because they were both in the mix.
They've always hated each other.
But I'm
goes
saying
back that when I was a kid,
that was deep though, because back even when you're a kid, the Red Sox were terrible.
You had Thurman Munson with the Yankees, you had Carlton Fisk with the Red Sox. Even back in the 70s, those teams, they did not like each other, man.
Louis Tiant era, listen, he'd plunk some Yankees. He wasn't afraid. But even going back that far, the Red Sox were kind of irrelevant off and on.
Well, the Yankees were always
the dominant.
It was like the Red Sox were their little brothers.
Yeah, early 2000s, though, they were neck and neck.
Yeah.
They were fighting for free agents every single offseason. And Jason Veritek had enough of A-Rod's mouth and punched him right in the face. I love it. That was awesome.
All right, so what do we do next? First base?
Do you want to elaborate on catcher? You just saying Johnny Bench?
Johnny Bench is the greatest catcher
Drop the
that
microphone.
I've ever seen. Listen, I never saw Yogi Berra play, okay? I've seen Pudge Rodriguez. He's right up there, too. But to me, Johnny Bench, clutch hitter, but as far as behind the dish, best I ever saw. Cannon for an arm.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Huge hands, too.
Johnny Bench. He can hold 7 baseballs in one hand.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable.
All right, so moving on to first base. So I've got a couple guys here. More during my childhood, Jim Thome was a guy that
I love that guy.
In Cincinnati and Philadelphia and Chicago. He was a bruiser and just a good old farm country boy that could swing.
He never played for Cincinnati.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
But he could crush. Did I say Cincinnati?
You
Chicago
did.
is what I meant.
Okay.
Yeah, he played.
But he was with Cleveland the majority
Yeah, he
of his
played.
career.
He played Cleveland, Philadelphia, and Chicago.
Okay.
If I said Cincinnati, that's my mistake. But he could absolutely crush a baseball.
Oh, he could.
When he squared one up, he
hit one ball completely out of Jacobs Field.
Yes.
Completely out of Jacobs Field.
Yeah, there in Cleveland.
The ballpark in Cleveland. He's got unbelievable power. And from what I've been always, nobody ever suspected him of taking any type of steroids. That was all natural.
He was always just a big old boy.
He was just
That's
a
what he
big
was.
old boy and very humble. Love that guy.
So talk about a guy. My other one that I had was Will Clark. He's a guy not so humble. Will was not afraid to run his mouth a little bit, but Will the Thrill, with his time in San Francisco with the Giants, was a guy that he was a competitor and a half. Loved the energy that he played the game with. A lot of people, this was before my time, but a lot of people remember him from his collegiate days at Mississippi State. Very good baseball player there with Rafael Palmeiro.
Yeah.
And a little thunder and lightning.
They do not like each other at all.
Well, they get along a little bit better now.
A little bit better, but
yeah,
boy,
they do some stuff together.
You can see some quotes from from back in the day.
Oh yeah. Will so that's one unique thing. I've actually later on here in Will's life, I've gotten to know him personally, and I've done some stuff with him on some social media platform things, and he is a great dude.
Yep.
So much fun.
Okay, my first baseman, Willie Stargell, and I'll tell you why. He had one of the most unique batting stances I've ever seen. He'd twirl the bat almost, but man, he could hit some balls that were scary. When I worked for the Reds, I told you I worked for the Reds when I worked at Riverfront, and there were times when the Pirates would come in there, and he'd take batting practice. Andy, he would hit balls in the upper deck there like it was nothing, and that was a long, long way. He had unbelievable strength, probably the most consistent, what do you call tape measure home run guy I've ever seen. Him and Reggie Jackson probably could hit the ball consistently further than any two guys I've ever seen. But Willie Stargell was my guy.
That's a good one. I didn't even think about Willie. Again, a little bit before my time too there. But second base, moving on here, you're going to like this one because this guy came up as a Chattanooga lookout, went on to play for your Cincinnati Reds, and was just a fan favorite because of his personality and the way he played some defense. He was a scrappy dude. I like those scrappy second basemen, but Pokey Reese.
Yeah, he was a tremendous second baseman.
Dangerous on the base path, too.
Maybe the best range I've ever seen at second base as far as going left to right. He could make some plays that would just – most second basemen wouldn't even get a glove on it, and he would actually make the play.
Yeah, it was cool. I got to see him play in Chattanooga at Ingalls Stadium back then when that was the home of the Chattanooga Lookouts. Of course, they're building the new beautiful Erlanger Park, which we're going to be down at here sooner than later doing the drive.
About a week and a half – about 2.5 weeks, I guess. Something like that.
Fired up for that.
My second baseman is Joe Morgan. Just loved him.
Great commentator, too.
Back-to-back MVPs in 75 and 76. He was the catalyst for the Big Red Machine, but a tremendous second baseman. Just flawless. I'm not going to say flawless, but as close to flawless as you could have. And he was a great second baseman, so that's who I got.
Yeah, my other second baseman was Craig Biggio, just because he was a scrappy guy.
Yeah,
he was always dirty and would battle at the plate. I like those kind of second basemen, those guys that bring their lunch.
Joe Morgan was like 5'7", 5'8".
Yeah,
he was
little
small,
guys.
but man, he had pop in his bat.
Third base, this is a no-brainer for me, Chipper Jones. And then, of course, later in his career, Cal Ripken Jr. Chipper Jones, in my opinion, the Yes, I said the greatest switch hitter of all time.
I think him and Eddie Murray, but I'd go with Chipper.
Yeah, and then Cal Ripken Jr., obviously the Iron Man of Major League Baseball. A big fan of Cal Ripken when he made the transition to third base. I kind of remember him later in his career as a third baseman. Obviously, I was younger when he was at shortstop.
Yeah. My third baseman is a tie. Mike Schmidt and George Brett.
Schmidt's a good one.
Those two, I mean, Schmidt had much better power. Brett was unbelievable as far as batting average and hitting, maybe one of the greatest clutch hitters I've ever seen in postseason play. George Brett was amazing in the ALCS and when he got to the World Series. But Mike Schmidt, there was no better guy as far as just at third base. He can pick it at third and tremendous power.
That's good. Shortstop. Go ahead and lead us off here with your shortstop, Jim.
You're going to love me. Alex Rodriguez.
A-Rod getting punched in the face by Veritek.
That's fine with me. I think he's the best shortstop I ever saw. And
he hit you a lot of home runs.
He hit a lot of home runs, but and I know he, as far as his personality, got under the skin of a lot of people, including yours. But he's my shortstop.
So shortstop for me, I went with the All-Ohio team here. You're going to like this. Barry Larkin.
Yep.
Was a big Barry Larkin
Love
fan.
Larkin.
Got to see him play at Synergy,
Yep.
which obviously you spent some time there when I was there. It was called Synergy.
Riverfront. When I worked there, yeah.
And then Omar Vizquel is another
From
one
Cleveland.
for the Indians who was a guy. He was kind of a clutch guy and played really good there at shortstop.
Yep. I tell you what, Andy. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll finish. We'll get to the outfield, DH, and pitching. We'll do that.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Hey, you're listening to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
For a limited time, get Hardee's Big Cheeseburger with 100% American Angus beef for just $4.99. That's a deal no one can beat. Actually, we can beat it. Because you can also get Hardee's hand-breaded chicken sandwich for $4.99. The Pick a Sandwich deal. Only $4.99. Only for a limited time. Only at Hardee's. Participating restaurants only. Tax not included.
Switching jobs is stressful. Switching schools is painful. But switching your insurance policies to Allstate, it really couldn't be easier. At Allstate, you can call one local agent who can assist you with all of your policies and make the paperwork simple. Here in Cleveland, Allstate agent George Gray can help you protect everything from your home, car, boat, and motorcycle to your RV, ATV, and more. See George Gray, Allstate Insurance on Keith Street. Are you in good hands?
Google reviews can be very helpful. So can third-party reviews like KBB.com, naming Honda the most trusted brand and the best value brand. But it's important where you buy your Honda, because that's where the deals are made. At Honda Cleveland, we're proud to be the region's only 5-time Honda President's Award winner and a Carfax top-rated lifetime dealer. It proves we work harder and folks trust us more. And we sure thank you for that. Right now, during our Honda Spring event, we're offering extra bountiful trade-in allowances and great deals on award-winning Accord, Civic, CRV, Ridgeline pickups, Passport, and Odyssey minivans. And don't miss our true certified pre-owned Hondas. They can save you a ton. They're backed by a 3-day return policy, 24/7 roadside assistance, and a powerful warranty. Oh, and speaking of Google reviews, thanks for the 4.7 out of 5 stars and over 2,300 reviews. We appreciate it. Honda Cleveland, your car, your way, every day. I-75 exit 20, 1 mile east. Hope to see you soon.
For decades, Best Buy Metals has been shaping more than metal. We've been building strength, one roof, one wall, one community at a time. This isn't just roofing and siding, it's steel formed with purpose, made to withstand difficult storms, because what we make doesn't just cover buildings, it protects what matters most. Get inspired today by visiting bestbuymetalroof.com. Best Buy Metals, designed to inspire, made to protect, driven to serve.
The Vascular Institute of Chattanooga celebrates 10 years of saving limbs and restoring lives. From state-of-the-art technology to compassionate patient care, VIC has become the region's trusted leader in vascular health and the only accredited vein and deep venous center in the area. Thank you to our patients, partners, and community for a decade of trust and support. The Vascular Institute of Chattanooga, 10 years strong and just getting started. Learn more at vascularinstituteofchattanooga.com. That's vascularinstituteofchattanooga.com.
When you need a new roof, it's all about trust. Your home is too big an investment and you can't afford to make a mistake. Cleveland Plywood has the products and expertise you're looking for. Contractors have trusted them for over 50 years, and they carry only proven products from reputable suppliers like IKO. IKO Cambridge is one of the heaviest weight asphalt shingles you can buy, and their limited warranties are among the industry's best. Protect the investment you've made in your home. Go with the pros at Cleveland Plywood, 2700 20th Street Northeast in Cleveland. Call 472-3357.
Cleveland Tire Center having a huge sale on Goodyear tires. Buy 3 Goodyears, get 1 free. Don't forget the Cleveland Tire Center service department for alignments, oil changes, and more. Cleveland Tire Center, 4699 North Lee Highway, where the name says it all. Goodyear, more driven.
Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
Y'all better come get Jim. He's on one today, giving me a hard time during these commercial breaks. Hey, Mayfield Dairy Chocolate Milk is a great recovery drink for athletes or anyone who likes to exercise. Rich in calcium and vitamin D, get Mayfield's famous chocolate milk at numerous locations in our area. Find out more at MayfieldDairy.com. Once again, that's MayfieldDairy.com. And with that, Mayfield Dairy, big-time sponsors of the Atlanta Braves right here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
And speaking of the Atlanta Braves, they announced today an agreement with Xfinity. A lot of people know it as Comcast. So if you live down in Hamilton County, Chattanooga,
Part of our listening area.
Yes, part of our listening area. You'll be able to find those games on channel 1254 on Xfinity down there in the greater Chattanooga area. Of course, up here we have Spectrum. Down there, it's Comcast or Xfinity. So yeah, so hopefully you'll be the next one to
That's right.
get that released out.
I'm waiting on it. I'm an ATT Uverse subscriber, so
yep.
Waiting to get the good news on a channel number. You said 1254, and I'll tell you how you can remember that. 1254, 12, number 12, Eddie Perez, Braves fans.
Okay.
And then 54, Max Fried. He's a Yankee now, but
Lord.
Max Fried.
By the way, he looked great.
He did.
Last night.
He looked really good.
Man, he looks good. Yeah, if he was still in that Braves uniform, right? All right, let's get back to our favorite all-time players. Not saying these are the best. These are our favorites, which is a big difference. All right, I'm going to start in the outfield. Left field, I've got Eric Davis in left field because he did play the end of his career in left field. When the Reds won the World Series in 1990, he was a left fielder. So I've got Eric the Red in left field.
That's a good one. So I didn't necessarily go by left, center, right. What I did is just pick a handful of my favorite outfielders.
Okay.
Obviously, Del Murphy, Andrew Jones, Otis Nixon, David Justice, guys that throughout their tenures in Atlanta, absolutely love those guys. But going outside of the Atlanta Braves, the first one I'm going to go with, another personality, if you will, Albert Bell.
Albert Bell, man.
Man, he played with some attitude, didn't he?
He did play with some attitude. You know, you remember that time he got hit with a pitch and he did not want to take first base.
Yeah.
He was mad.
He stayed in the box.
Yeah, I think he could have bit some nails into it on that day, but he was a tough dude.
He wasn't afraid to throw some forearms in the base path either.
Who was that second baseman he laid out one time?
I think it was Harold Reynolds.
Oh, my gosh. He absolutely just bulldozed over him and then just kind of walked back to the dugout.
He crunched him. I'm going to look that up.
But that was a forearm shiver, what they call a forearm shiver. He got some guy, but he was a intimidator.
No, it was actually Fernando Vina.
Fernando Vina. He was a smaller guy.
Yeah, he got rocked. Man.
Yeah, he got rocked. Yeah, that was awesome, man. All right, center field. I've got Ken Griffey Jr. To me,
ditto. That's what I have on my
best
list.
I've ever seen, and I loved watching him. Even most of his career with Seattle, he did play some with the Reds. But man, I loved Ken Griffey Jr. So we both agree on center field.
Yeah, the kid. Ken Griffey Jr., one of my favorite highlights of him is when he jumped in front of his dad. They played together up there in Seattle.
That was classic.
He cut his dad off to catch a fly ball and was laughing. His dad, and this is no lie, took his car keys after the game.
I love it.
He grounded him. He took his car keys from him.
I love it.
Major League Baseball player getting grounded by his dad.
I think it's so cool that they actually played together.
It's awesome.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't they hit both of them hit a home run in the same game? I don't know if it's back to back, but they both hit a home run in the same game, father son.
Yeah.
What are the odds of that?
What do you think the conversation at the dinner table that night was like?
Griffey's like, mine went further than yours.
Yeah, probably.
Junior.
Senior. Oh, Junior.
probably
Yeah.
said, yeah, mine went further than yours, Dad.
But Ken Griffey Jr. in his younger days, talk about an event that Major League Baseball has always absolutely rocked, in my opinion, the Home Run Derby.
He was awesome.
That was Ken Griffey Jr.'s event.
Yeah.
Like for the longest time, 1999, man, he was hitting balls off buildings.
The time they did it in Baltimore, he hit the warehouse in the air.
Yeah, hit the warehouse.
God, he was awesome.
He was.
All right, right field, Dave Parker.
That's a good one.
When he was with the Pirates,
that's a good one.
He was so good.
He just passed away not long ago.
Cannon for an arm.
The Cobra.
What great nickname.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a great nickname.
That's a good one.
But I love Dave Parker.
And then, so the other one that I have, this guy wasn't a big time Hall of Fame name, but Eric Burns, another guy I've got to know personally. They called him the human crash test dummy because he would make full speed catches into the walls. It didn't matter. He would give his body up to make a play. He would lay out, and he's got some of the most insane highlight defensive catches out of the outfield in Major League Baseball history.
That's an interesting name. I would never have thought of him.
They called him the human crash test dummy.
That's hilarious.
And man, he played with an intensity, the way he ran the bases, and glad to call him a good friend of mine now.
Yeah. All right, let's go. DH. I've got Ohtani. He's the greatest I've ever seen. I know that you don't like him personally. I like him, and he's my DH of all time.
I just got a bad taste in my mouth when you said
So I've
that.
got A-Rod and Ohtani, man.
Yeah.
That's yuck for you.
Why don't you just pick some villains? Why don't you go ahead and throw Barry Bonds on there?
Barry Bonds came to my mind, but I couldn't unseat any of these other three guys. My favorites.
You want to you want to carry this into football? You want Ray Lewis and Michael Vick too? You want to go ahead and do that?
Yeah,
the all villain
we'll get
team.
O.J. Simpson at the same time.
Oh my
right?
goodness! Yeah, we've talked about O.J.
That's
2 days in a row. Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, drive's going off the rails a little bit here. Designated hitter for me has got to be. And so this is one, I actually didn't pick anyone here on my list. I don't have anyone in front of me, but I can't help but think of when Jim Thome transitioned to DH. He's a guy I already have. Frank Thomas, another guy who became a DH.
Who's the guy with the Red Sox that was a clutch hitter back in the day? He's on Fox's baseball.
David Ortiz.
David Ortiz
now,
was a
so
great DH.
he's the greatest DH of all time, in my opinion. But Edgar Martinez from Seattle's another one.
He's a good one.
I didn't get to watch a lot of Edgar, but he's such a humble DH. I'll go with Edgar Martinez.
Okay,
that's a good one.
All right, starting pitcher. I've got Tom Seaver, best right-handed pitcher I ever saw.
Do you know what I like about doing this? Our decades.
Yeah, I'm more of a 70s guy.
We overlap a little
80s,
bit.
70s and 80s.
But so my first one, and you talk about personalities. My first one is Pedro Martinez, a guy.
He was awesome. For about 4 or 5 years, he was the best pitcher in baseball.
Yes, and he was not afraid to pitch inside.
No, he was
He
not.
would plunk some people.
Yeah,
Derek Jeter, Alex Rodriguez, he didn't
If you
care.
plunked one of his guys, you guarantee the next inning, one of the other guys
Telling some cool stories. He used to go to his teammates and say, "Who do you want?
Who do you want?"
And he'd let them pick, and he'd plunk. He got Derek Jeter.
And if they didn't pick, he'd just pick someone out on his own.
All right, who you got next? Starting pitcher.
Oh, I only got the one.
Oh, you only did one?
Left-handed? Okay, that right-handed. Left-handed, I'd have Steve Carlton.
Okay, well, I went with a plethora here. Kurt Schilling I've got on there.
Okay.
Bloody Sock, infamous in the World Series.
He was a great postseason pitcher.
Kerry Wood, a guy whose career was cut short, might have went down as one of the greatest pitchers of all time. Also, Tim Wakefield, the knuckleballer. Rest in peace, Tim Wakefield. Passed away from cancer way too early, but Tim Wakefield's a guy that really mastered that knuckleball, and it carried him into his 40s pitching in Major League Baseball.
And of course, Nolan Ryan, he's on
my list too.
One of those guys too. All right, relief pitcher. You're gonna love mine, John Smoltz.
Yeah, that's a neat one.
Best relief pitcher I ever saw in my life.
So I went outside of the Braves. Obviously, I was a big Craig Kimbrell guy, but I really like Brian Wilson. If you remember Brian Wilson with the big beard, the closer for the Giants.
I think didn't he dye his beard blacker
jet black.
Jet black.
Yeah.
It looks so unnatural, but still.
Yeah. No, it was very unnatural.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like Brian Wilson. He pitched with a lot of intensity. Eric Gagne is another one. He was a Dodger, but man, he was fun during that little stretch. Come to find out, he
Goose Gossage when he was around,
Goose is a good one.
and the mad Hungarian, Al Verbosky.
Hey, we're gonna run out of time. We got Sweet 16 coming up tonight, right, Jim? We're getting things kicked off.
Yeah, we do. So tonight we got the games going on right now. So at 7:10. Texas versus Purdue. That game's on CBS. Number 9, Iowa, and number 4, Nebraska, as far as seeding-wise.
Let's go ahead and make our picks while we're doing it.
Okay, so Texas, Purdue. I'm going to go with Purdue, but I do think Texas is going to give them a run for their money.
I'm going Purdue. I'm going with the Longhorns.
Iowa and Nebraska. That game's going to be on TBS and True TV. That game tips off around 7:30. I'm going with Nebraska.
I'm going Hawks. Go Hawkeyes.
Arkansas and Arizona, 9:45 tip on CBS. I'm going to go with Arizona.
I'm going Arkansas in a huge upset.
That would be a big one, no doubt about that. Illinois and Houston, the Fighting Illini and Houston. I'm going to go with Houston, but I think it's going to be a very competitive game. That's a good
I'm going Houston as well.
And then, let's go ahead and do Friday because you're not going to be here.
Yeah, let's do it.
St. John's and Duke. I'm going with Duke. That game on CBS tomorrow.
Yeah, I've got to go Duke. As much as I want St. John's to win that game, I'm going Duke Blue Devils.
Alabama and Michigan. If Alabama can hit the threes like they did last weekend, they can beat Michigan. If they don't, then I've got Michigan winning. I'm going to go with the Wolverines because I don't think that Alabama will be hitting them at a high percentage as they were last week.
Only say this for our guy Gavin Strickland, who sits in and does the board because he's a big Alabama guy, but I'm saying Roll Tide.
All right. Then we got number 3 seed Michigan State versus number 2 seed UConn on CBS. I'm going to go with Sparty.
I'm doing it too.
I think Izzo's going to get it done there.
Yep, Spartans, man.
And then the last game, the 6 seed Tennessee Volunteers and the number 2 seed Iowa State Cyclones. I love Tennessee, but boy, Iowa State, they just look like they're at a different level. I think Iowa State's going to the Final Four.
Iowa State is a good basketball team, but give me Rocky Top.
The Big Orange.
It's time. They're due. Give me Rocky Top.
Absolutely. And that ends the show, man.
That's it. Hey, appreciate you guys tuning in today. Jim will be back tomorrow. I won't be. Tune in, listen to him. He's going to drop some more knowledge on you, I'm sure. And I believe you're going to have Mark Smith on with you, right?
Mark Smith. He's been in Arizona watching the Cubs all during spring training.
Time out. This is going to be a fun show. You guys better listen to that. Anytime Mark's on, it's a good time. You've been listening to The Drive on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Have a great day, everybody.